Because one of the two, and we knew one of the two was going to jump on it because there are enough developers with big games that were really huge on early access. So, you know, I'm glad Xbox is the one that stepped their foot in because that's the console I have.
Yeah, it's. I mean, for a while, you know, PlayStation has been getting all of the indie stuff. They've been getting most of the indie love,
and they really didn't show a lot of indie stuff at their presentation. Like, oddly enough, they were the ones that showed like Call of Duty and the third-party games this year, like Assassin's Creed and, you know, whatever else that comes out every single year. You know, I was surprised that they kind of put indie games aside. They had like a brief trailer that showed off a few things that Devolver Digital was pushing out, and then Xbox posted 42 indie trailers that were shown during E3, like full trailers that they had that were running in the background, and they had that IDXbox montage, which is oddly enough what we're talking about next. So
yeah, it's like they kind of reversed roles. Yeah, last year all Sony had to talk about was indie games. They didn't have any first party stuff.
No.
This year Xbox had not only an amazing lineup of like first party exclusives, but then they went on to just blast out, like you said, 42 indie games. Like, check out these 42 games that are going to be coming out within the year, more than likely.
Yeah, within a year, most likely. And then it's just like 42 full on trailers, not like a montage. But 40 it took me like 2 hours to watch all of those trailers last night.
Dude, I can't believe you watch all of them, to be honest. That is
I had
commitment.
To. I love indie games and I love the indie division at Xbox, so I guess I did it just so I knew what was kind of coming up and certain things I was really interested in and ones that I might want to avoid. But, you know.
Yeah, no, there's some really cool stuff coming out. Cuphead. I need Cuphead.
So good. That trailer.
Oh my God, the run and gun. Because that's the first time you really saw extended gameplay for it.
Yeah.
And it just looks so fast and so frantic and so crazy.
And just imagining having to do that with one other person. Like the fact that it's co-op is just insane.
It's just
such a good game.
Oh my God. And the whole like story, you're basically in debt to the devil and he's going to like take your soul unless you go
murder these things. Basically, with your little water gun. Like with you see in the trailer, they pour booze in their head. It was a triple X bottle. They're just dumping it in their mug and
booze in their head and just fucking going to killing spree.
But it looks just like a 1930s cartoon. I mean, it looks fantastic. It's got a great aesthetic, and it's stuck out from every other indie game because, you know, indie games can only do so much graphically, I think.
Yeah, and who's done this? Who's taken like the Steamboat Willie era Disney and made an indie game out of that?
I can't really think of anybody. Like Cuphead got a really amazing showing, and then they showed some other ones that were up there, like Ashen, which is looks like it's like a fantasy RPG kind of open worldish, just judging by the trailer. The trailer kind of looked like a puzzle game, kind of like Eco on PlayStation 2. But then they actually showed combat for it with swords and shields and all that stuff. So no telling what's going to happen there. And then we actually get the MMO or Goats edition of Goat Simulator. So everybody can stop pestering the shit out of them on their social media when they're going to bring that to Xbox.
Yeah, I'm glad to see that coming. I'm glad Goat Simulator is on Xbox. It's such a ridiculous game. And that MMO freaking add-on just was so bad, but in the best way.
I think my favorite thing about the MMO simulator add-on is that people did not understand the name was very literal. It is an MMO simulator. There's no one in the game that's real. They're all NPCs. You'll get whispered by NPCs that are like asking if you want to group up or trade, or we'll tell you to meet you somewhere and then we'll show up. Or they just troll like a fake chat that just scrolls down like a fake like zone chat or whatever. And it's just
gold.
Exactly. Like there's fake gold spammers and stuff, but it is literally an MMO simulator. And then we get the Goat Zed add-on, which
is the one that has God, what's his name? I'm totally spacing right now. Kojima. Which one is he in the credits for?
It's the Goat Simulator, the Goat Z, I believe, add-on. At the end, it may even be just at the end of Goat Simulator in general, because I think once you get them all, it just turns into one giant game, and you just kind of pick which mode you want in the beginning. I don't have the Goat Z add-on for PC, just the MMO and the standard game. What else do they have? Beyond Eyes looked actually really cool. It's a pretty colorful game. You're a blind girl who has to use all of her other senses in her adventure, like sound and smell. And
I'm really excited for that game. That looks like one of those kind of like indie experiences where it's really colorful, very slow, and very atmospheric. But it looks almost like it was painted with watercolors.
Yeah,
like the visuals
looks
are really
cool.
really pretty. You're basically a little girl and you're looking for your cat, but you're blind, so you have to just kind of use sound, and so it's very artistic. They're basically visualizing what sound would look like as you're playing through. It looks really,
so you do
really,
see
really
things.
good.
Like, there are graphics in the game, obviously, but it looks like what she would imagine it looking like just by hearing the sounds or smelling a certain thing or whatever. So it's a really cool idea, I think, really different.
Yeah, I'm excited. That was for me one of the better looking indie games that I saw this year.
I'm glad they got time on the stage to actually show that one off this year. And then Gone Home's Fulbright was there. They showed off Tacoma, which is kind of like a first-person zero-gravity space kind of exploration game. I don't know. They showed a trailer before, and they didn't really show anything. And then with this trailer, they didn't really show or explain anything. So it's still kind of up in the air.
I'm still very confused as to what it is and why is it called Tacoma?
I think Tacoma is the name of the spaceship, the ship that they're on.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, based on Gone Home, I'm assuming it's going to be some sort of first-person exploration game that's just more of a narrative and experience as opposed to being actiony.
Yeah. Tacoma is just the name of a asshole city in Washington State, so I'm just curious if there's any correlation between the two.
Yeah, but I mean, there really is a ton of IDXbox games that were talked about and shown. So if it piques your interest, just look up the Xbox YouTube channel, and there's an entire playlist with all 42 trailers that you can just sit and watch for 2 hours.
Yeah, just go and dive in. At least go through and click through a few, because like Brad said, there are some really cool ones coming out.
Yeah, there's a lot of them, like really cool ones that they didn't actually like show at E3. That the trailer is just there because the game is there on the show floor. Like Storm in a Teacup that did Nero. I know it wasn't well received by a lot of people, but either people really loved it or they hated it, and I loved it. And the developer just showed off their new game Enki, which is you're being chased by like a serial killer in a randomly generated house, and you have to solve all these crazy puzzles and escape before you're murdered, basically. But it looks terrifying. It looks really good.
How do you spell that?
Enki.
Enki. Okay.
Enki.
Check that out. I didn't watch that one.
Enki. If you're following us on Twitter, we posted the trailer last night. Enki. But yeah, they showed off a lot of stuff. The DayZ creator showed off Ion, which is a space MMO, but it was just a CGI trailer that didn't really tell us anything at all.
Yeah, so that's a lot of people are hyped about that. I know he did like a big presentation the day after talking about exactly what the game's going to be or what he's planning for it. But yeah, it sounds like it's going to be kind of another survival-esque game in space, kind of
DayZ in
kind
space.
Of in the DayZ vein. It's sounding like he's trying to shake it up a little bit, so it's not as hardcore in terms of survival. But
yeah,
it sounds like it'll be similar.
Yeah, people seem pretty pissed that he abandoned DayZ to move on to another IP. They feel like he's just using the money he got from DayZ to just pump into a new game. So I don't know. I don't really know what's going on.
DayZ's still being worked on, but yeah, he's been working on it for a while. And I'm sure he wants to move on at this point, but
don't we all?
Don't we all?
And then we got Motiga's new game coming out, the competitive PvP game Gigantic.
That looks really cool. I love the art style. It's so colorful and so much different than a lot of the other MOBAs that are coming out that kind of go for the like cartoony feel, but more in the comic book style.
Yeah.
Like I feel like stuff like Smite and what was the DC one? DC.
Oh God, I don't even remember.
God, it already announced that it's shutting
Crisis,
down.
I think.
Infinite Crisis. Infinite Crisis, yeah.
Yeah. And is this confirmed to be a MOBA, or is it just 5-on-5 PvP? Because I didn't see any like allies like in Smite or like towers to defend or anything. It just looked like 5 people fighting 5 people and then fighting some sort of giant boss.
It is a MOBA.
Okay.
Kind of, sort of. But there's 5. It's 5 versus 5 like a MOBA, and then you have like a giant kind of like Titan-esque monster on your team that you need to defend from the other 5 players.
Gotcha. And then the closed beta for that for Windows 10 and Xbox One, which are the only 2 places you can play Gigantic, another exclusive. Just pointing that out. You can sign up for the beta right now. Again, that's in August.
So yeah, I've signed up for that beta last night, and then the Fable Legends beta as well. Those are 2 free-to-play games. I'm stoked. I want to see what Microsoft is going to do with free-to-play.
Yeah, they've been doing pretty good with it so far. You know, Killer Instinct had a great free-to-play model that obviously worked.
Yeah, and that was very rough early free-to-play. That was them just dipping their toes in.
Yeah.
So now that they kind of get a feel for it, I'm excited to see, like, because they've learned from like Killer Instinct and Happy Wars, like how they can kind of build and make a free-to-play game work.
Yeah.
And Fable especially, that's a huge established franchise. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with that in terms of free-to-play. Free-to-play
and cross-play, because you'll be able to play Fable Legends with people on PC as well as your Xbox through Windows 10, which is cool. And then Happy Dungeons is coming out, which is another free-to-play, like Happy Wars, but Happy Dungeons, where it's a 4-player dungeon crawler. So we'll see again how they handle. There's a lot of free games coming out for Xbox, which is awesome. I'm always good to try free stuff.
Yeah, with free stuff, it can't hurt to try. And sometimes it ends up being damn good, and you spend weeks and weeks investing.
Or $120 on Neverwinter, and you're just like, damn it.
Why do I hate myself?
Sorry, wallet.
Oh, I regret those purchases.
The next announcement was pretty huge, though.
Yeah, this was a lot of people. I probably thought initially this was the big Rare announcement.
Yeah.
But Rare Replay is coming to Xbox One this year, and it's basically a celebration of Rare's 30th anniversary, which I think was yesterday.
Yeah, they were talking about having cake and stuff.
Yeah, so their 30th anniversary was yesterday, and they announced the Rare Replay, which is going to be 30 Rare games for $30.
Yeah.
So an insane library of amazing Rare games like Conker's Bad Fur Day, Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, Perfect Dark for $30.
Yeah.
It's going to have 10,000 gamer score to unlock. So you achievement fiends are going to have your work cut out for you.
Stop. My OCD. Yeah, it's like I thought Master Chief Collection had a lot, but 10,000 gamer score. And I mean, the 2 key games I think that people were complaining that were missing was Donkey Kong Country and GoldenEye.
Did they even do GoldenEye though? Did Rare?
Yeah, Rare did GoldenEye, but they said that it's kind of back and forth. Some people are saying that Nintendo held on to the license a little too strong, and that they're saying that they didn't want to approach licensed games, that they really just wanted to promote 30 years of them developing original content. Because none of the games in there are licensed, besides which would have been GoldenEye. Plus, you get Perfect Dark, which in my opinion was better than GoldenEye.
Yeah, Perfect Dark was amazing. Battletoads, obviously. I always love the Viva Pinata games. You get both of those in there. Those are great games.
You get Blast Corps and Jet Force Gemini, which were awesome on the 64.
Jet Force Gemini. It would have been if they somehow could have got Donkey Kong Country, which I know they never would have, because Nintendo
never would have happened.
Never allowed that to happen. But if that would have been included, oh, dude.
Yeah. I mean, Jet Force Gemini alone is one of the best N64 games, in my opinion. So I'm really stoked to play that one again. Cameo is like a hidden gem that I wouldn't mind revisiting at some point.
Yeah, I like Cameo. A lot of people kind of brushed it off initially when it launched with 360, but it was cool. It was a unique game. It had style. It was unlike anything you'd played before. It was cool.
It was really pretty. So, but 30, I mean, you get 30 games for $30. It comes out August 4th.
30 Rare games. That's what's boggling my mind. I'm trying to process what has Rare done that I'm not thinking of.
RC Pro-Am, like back on the Nintendo and the arcades. God, I can't even think of them. There's so many.
I can't think of 15, let alone 30.
Yeah, so I'm happy paying $30 for 30 games. And again, that comes out August 4th.
Yeah, so that's
coming out soon.
That's really cool. It's just insane value, just insane collection of games for $30. They could have. I would have easily paid $60 for that. But
yeah, so I mean, if you're waiting for a new Banjo-Kazooie, or you were expecting a new Battletoads or Battle Roads to be announced this E3 and that did not happen, at least you can revisit the classics.
Exactly. You can go back to the
And a lot of
original
people that were playing
battle.
it. Oh yeah, and a lot of people that were playing the rare replay on the E3 floor were saying how crisp and how good everything was looking, especially the old classic 2D games. What they're doing is they're allowing you to pause and rewind time. So like if you're playing Battletoads and you just completely screw up or fall into a hole or whatever, you can rewind time to where you where you wanted to resume from and then go from there. But that's only for the 2D games.
That's awesome. That's really cool. So they're kind of utilizing the octa-core kind of game DVR processing to allow you to rewind your.
Yeah, because they know the games are really damn hard, and there were no checkpoints back then, really. So to make up for it, they're going to allow you to rewind. They're going to allow you to replay, if you will.
Replay the replay.